Before we start, we advise viewers to consider carefully. The following content is intended for educational and entertainment purposes only. We're on day 10 of Diddy's trial at a federal court in Manhattan in what's become the most closely watched trial in music industry history. Something nobody expected happened and changed everything. The judge called out her name loudly, and the whole courtroom seemed to freeze. Jennifer Lawrence, no red carpet, no press conference, but sworn in as a sealed federal witness. For the first time, her identity was revealed because what she saw could no longer stay buried. A letter, one night in Beverly Hills, a hallway no one is allowed to talk about, and a warning written years before Cassie filed her lawsuit. I won't let you buy me off. I won't disappear. I won't be the next Cassie. This wasn't just a testimony, it was a message to the entire industry. Fame won't protect you. Silence will, and she's done being silent. The moment Jennifer Lawrence stood up to testify, everything felt unreal. People in the courtroom whispered, some shocked, others confused. No one saw her coming, not in this trial, not like this. She wasn't there to promote a movie or smile for the cameras. She was there as a witness. And the first thing presented wasn't photos or videos. It was a handwritten letter, torn at the edges, dated 2012. The courtroom leaned in as the prosecutor read the headline. So, whoever's pulling the strings, this is the final warning. I won't let you buy me off. I won't disappear. And I won't be the next Cassie. Those words sent a chill through the room. She wrote that letter when she was just 22 years before Cassie's lawsuit even happened. The judge told her she could speak. Miss Lawrence, you can start with your own words. And she did. Jennifer said she was invited to a private party in Beverly Hills, a charity event. They told her it was something for young actors, a creative network, building a brand. It sounded like a dream. But that night, it was no dream. It was a trap. I was young, she said. They told me I was one of the lucky ones. But I wasn't lucky. I was bait. She remembered every detail. A black SUV with no license plate picked her up. Her phone was taken at the gate. She was asked to sign a waiver, but no one told her the real purpose of that waiver. No cameras, just red lights, dark hallways, men in suits, and women wearing masks. The courtroom fell silent. Then, the prosecutor asked the question everyone was thinking. Do you know any of the women involved? Jennifer nodded slowly. She said one of them was an actress. I won't say who, but she's very famous and intimidating. Jennifer took a deep breath, then said words that made the jury shift uncomfortably in their seats. They said it was just a game I didn't have to play, but the truth was different. She said, once that door closes, no one's allowed to leave early. No way out. No second chances. You smile, you play along, and you pray you don't end up in the wrong room. Then she told about something even worse. A door with no name, just a number. She saw one girl walk out crying, and another who never came back. Jennifer stared straight ahead. She didn't have to explain what that meant. The court already knew. I kept thinking, is this for real? Did all those stories start right here? Then bam, the prosecution dropped Exhibit 17A, a sealed psychological report from Jennifer's own team. It confirmed what she went through that night. She came back in shock, showing signs of dissociation and trauma. That same week, she was pulled out of the public eye. To the public, they said it was exhaustion, but Jennifer was falling apart. I didn't sleep for 3 days, she said. I kept picturing that hallway, that smell, that sound. I still hear it sometimes. Then came the moment that made the whole courtroom feel like it had slammed shut. She was asked, did you witness any crimes? Jennifer paused, then answered, not legally, but morally. Yes. She told about a girl who looked even younger than her. Jennifer asked who that girl was, and the answer was, she was just here for training. That's when Jennifer's voice started to break, like she was a ghost, like she didn't even exist. The judge gave her a moment, but Jennifer kept going. He read from her original 2012 letter. I didn't want that car. I didn't want that contract. I didn't want to be someone's puppet in fancy lighting. I just wanted to exist in this industry. That's all. Now, when the judge asked if she wanted to stop, she shook her head because who she was didn't matter. She said, "Fame doesn't protect you in rooms like that. No one's famous there. You're either useful or you're replaceable." And at that moment, the courtroom didn't see a movie star. They saw a survivor. After everything Jennifer said, the courtroom was silent. Even the court staff hesitated before typing up her final notes. Jennifer wouldn't do interviews. Her voice, her letter, and this testimony, this was all she would say. But then the next question came. "Miss Day, Lawrence, has anyone from Mr. Combs' team reached out to you?" She didn't answer right away. Then she nodded slowly. Yes. In 2017, the whole courtroom leaned in toward her. 5 years had passed since that night in Beverly Hills. 5 years pretending everything was fine award shows, red carpets, applause. But behind the scenes, things were starting again. Jennifer said after winning an Oscar and the success of the Hunger Games, she started getting strange invitations. Not direct messages, but more like whispers through intermediaries. She got invited to workshops, retreats, and events, but one stood out weirdly. A woman named She Wasn't a Hollywood Name. She was listed as a creative liaison. She reached out through an encrypted email, not even sent directly to Jennifer, but through a former publicist. The invitation sounded harmless on the surface. "We're hosting a retreat for progressive female talents, organized by Sean Lovecombs, Santa Ann's partner. No press. Just peace." Jennifer didn't reply and didn't want to get involved, but Ari didn't give up. A week later, Jennifer's phone rang. No caller ID, blocked number, and this is the part that shocked everyone in the courtroom. Jennifer answered, "I still don't know why I picked up." She said, "Maybe. I was curious. Maybe part of me wanted closure." The woman introduced herself. Jennifer confirmed the call under oath. She remembered every word. Unlike before, Ari said, the house was gone. Jennifer confirmed the call under oath. She remembered every word. Unlike last time, Ari said, that was Ariel. Jennifer confirmed the call under oath. She remembered every word. Unlike last time, Ari said, the house is gone. The tunnels are sealed off. This is about rebirth. Everyone in the courtroom was stunned. The judge banged his gavel and said, "Order." The prosecutor looked surprised. He leaned forward. "Miss Maya, Lawrence, what did she mean by tunnels? Have you ever talked about those before?" Jennifer answered. "No one knows I saw the hallway or the second room, the padded room. I never told anyone, not even my family. So how does this stranger know?" She imitated Ari's voice, too calm, like someone reading a script she didn't write. And then the last line. "You don't have to do anything you're not comfortable with. Just show up. Walk through." That's all he needed. Jennifer hung up, her hands trembling. She reported the call to her legal team. They told her not to get involved, to just ignore it. But the next day, something else happened. Inside her trailer on the set of Mother, she found an envelope. No name, no return address. Inside was a copy of the same NDA she'd never signed back in 2012, with one word scrawled on top in thick black ink: reminder. Jennifer stopped at the courthouse, then quietly said, "That broke me." They were telling her, "We're still watching. We still own this story." She didn't tell anyone, not a single soul. But that night, she wrote something new in her private journal, what the prosecution calls Exhibit 17. She wrote, "If I disappear, send this letter. It's no accident. It all started in the Red Room. It ends here." The room went silent. Even the defense said nothing. Then the prosecutor leaned forward. "Miss Lawrence, have you ever considered going public?" Jennifer looked up. "Yes," she said. "In 2021, right after Cassie's name suddenly disappeared from the headlines, Jennifer started hearing rumors about a deal, secret footage, in a hidden vault. That's when she realized it wasn't just about what happened to her. It was about what almost happened to others. She named Cassie, Aubrey, even someone from her own crew. That's when the judge called for a 5-minute recess. No one moved because what Jennifer described wasn't just fear. It was a system designed to keep people silent, and she was never supposed to speak again. When the trial resumed, the tone shifted. No more questions about rooms or NDAs. Now it was about people. Mrs. Lawrence, has any public figure ever acknowledged your silence, even indirectly? She only nodded once, back in 2019 at an Oscar after-party. An older actress she barely knew pulled her aside and whispered, "I've seen your name on the list. Just be careful who's still watching." The court asked her to name the woman. Jennifer refused. She said she was scared too. The prosecution didn't push. Instead, they presented Exhibit 17G, a selfie Jennifer took. It showed an envelope left at her doorstep in April 2022. Again, no name, no note. But this time something was taped inside a flash drive. Jennifer never plugged it in. She just handed it straight to her lawyer. They checked it. It was empty. But 2 weeks later, something scary happened. A tabloid photographer secretly took pictures of Jennifer at a private event one she wasn't even supposed to be at. Then he vanished, disappeared without a trace. Jennifer never posted anything about that event. That event wasn't on her calendar. It was invite only. Yet somehow, someone knew exactly where she'd be. The photographer's phone rang once on the hills near Mulholland Drive. When police found it, the screen was smashed, the battery missing. The case remains unsolved. And for the first time, Jennifer's voice cracked in court. She said, "I don't want to connect the dots. I don't want to believe it. But what if that flash drive was just a test for me? What if someone else had to pay the price because I didn't get involved?" When the trial resumed after the break, the judge reminded everyone speculation wouldn't be part of the record, but the emotional weight of what Jennifer shared would linger. Then the prosecutor dropped something new. Evidence 17H. It was a leaked memo from a now-defunct PR firm tied to Combs Global. Federal authorities found it during a recent data sweep. The memo outlined how to handle allegations from young talent. Hidden in one of the edited lines was Jennifer's name. The note said she was unlikely to escalate things because of brand protection instincts. Jennifer looked down, then back up. She said, "I'm predictable." She spoke like they knew I wouldn't speak out because I cared too much about my image. She took a breath and said they were right. For a while. I smiled. I stayed silent, but I haven't slept right in 10 years. Then came the next bombshell. Jennifer confirmed she was offered hush money, not directly, but through consulting fees, brand contracts, and cryptic telegrams with strange terms. She told her team to walk away every time. Then the prosecutor asked, "Do you believe you were the only one?" Jennifer didn't flinch. "No. I think there were many more. Some walked in, some never walked out." No one said a word after that, because Jennifer wasn't just talking about secrets anymore. She was talking about a system that's still in place, and now, finally on. There was a recording, and the prosecutor shifted focus. "Miss Lawrence, are you aware of the property at 11 Star Island Drive in Miami?" Jennifer froze before saying, "Yes, I was there once briefly." She explained it was in 2014 during a promo trip for Hunger Games Mockingjay. She was invited to a small, elite party hosted by a streaming executive. The venue was a mansion on Star Island. She arrived around 11 p.m. The lights. The venue was a mansion on Star Island. She got there around 11 p.m. Red lights, loud music, drinks passed around, IDs taken at the door. Jennifer said she was told it was a casual gathering, but once inside, she felt something was off. It wasn't like a press event. It felt staged. The room she entered had 4 leather couches, a marble bar, and a mirrored wall tinted from behind. She didn't stay long. Someone, a woman, recognized her, leaned in and whispered, "You don't belong here, sweetheart. That's enough." Jennifer left before midnight, but a few days later, during the X-Men Apocalypse press tour, She found something waiting in her dressing room, a folded note tucked inside the leather jacket the studio had given her. She never told anyone, but she kept that note. They were watching. That room had 3 cameras. One was above the mirror. She didn't tell her team. The prosecution introduced evidence 18A, a scanned copy of the note with date and timestamp recorded by Jennifer's assistant. Then the next question. Have you ever seen any footage from that night? Jennifer's voice dropped. Not from that night, but there was a clip. She said it was on the laptop of a rep who briefly worked with both Diddy's brand team and a streaming company. The clip wasn't labeled, just saved in a folder called Event. 12 seconds, no faces. But she recognized the room, the mirror, the couch. She told her lawyer right away, but the laptop was wiped by that rep. They resigned a few days later. The defense stepped in, rumors unconfirmed, and the judge agreed. But even then, everyone in the courtroom could see the truth in her eyes. I don't know what that footage shows, Jennifer said, but someone knew I saw it because 2 weeks later, my trailer was broken into. Nothing was taken, but everything was moved, and that's when it all became clear. This wasn't random. This wasn't just a party. In 2012, it was all connected. Cameras, records, people who knew. The prosecutor closed her notebook. One last question for this segment. What finally made you speak out? Jennifer's answer was clear. When I saw that word in the indictment, I knew it wasn't just about Cassie. It could be about me. The judge called for another recess. And this time, even the jury looked scared, because at that moment, Jennifer Lawrence was no longer just a movie star. She was a witness, and her silence had just ended. Jennifer came back to the stand after the break. This time, something was different. Her voice was stronger, clearer, like every word she'd held back for years was finally coming out. The prosecutor didn't waste any time. Ms. Lawrence wanted to talk about contracts, specifically terms she believed were used to keep her quiet. Jennifer nodded without hesitation. Starting in 2013, she said she was offered a multi-year endorsement deal. Not directly, but through a shell company quietly linked to Combs Enterprises. On paper, it looked harmless, just a perfume branding deal. But when her team dug deeper, exactly on page 37, they found a clause that stopped everything, restraining from participating in or disclosing any non-public development sessions involving certain individuals connected to Cole. The client must refrain from participating in or revealing any non-public development sessions involving certain individuals related to Cohen's past or present. Jennifer paused and looked directly at the jury. I've never seen anything like that. That's not a standard clause, not about ethics or brand safety. It was a warning. This wasn't about keeping her clean. It was about keeping her silent. She said the contract was never signed because her legal team flagged it immediately. But that wasn't the only time. In the years that followed, similar contracts kept showing up. Different companies, different products. But buried deep in the fine print were clauses meant to stop her from ever speaking publicly about certain people, events, or brand environments. Each time she walked away, and each time her silence became more valuable. They weren't just trying to protect a brand, she said. They were trying to buy silence before anyone even knew what questions to ask. The prosecutor leaned in again. And how many times did you get offers like that? Jennifer took a few moments to count, then said, I said no every single time. Then she paused, and for the first time in the trial, allowed herself to admit something that had haunted her for years. But I always wondered if anyone else said yes. Jennifer stared at the contract once more. That wasn't a mistake. The strange line on page 37, the clause that demands she not talk about any of Combs' associates, wasn't just a one-time thing, because right after she refused, another contract showed up, a different project, a different company, but the same kind of agreement. If I say the money stops, she said. The prosecutor revealed Exhibit 18C, an edited analysis of contracts signed by 3 female artists over 5 years. Each contract had similar language and one standout clause. The client forfeits all arbitration rights on emotional distress, brand damage, and legacy breaking issues tied to industry mentorship. Jennifer read that line aloud. Legacy breaking, that's what they feared. Then came a shocking question. Miss Lawrence, do you know of any other high-profile women who were approached and then walked away? Jennifer's eyes closed, then opened. Yes, someone older than me, a big-name person. She didn't name her, but said this woman had been scheduled to attend the same 2020 retreat Jennifer was invited to. The flight, she pulled out, and the message she sent Jennifer was, if you value your peace, don't go. There are mirrors there. The courtroom went silent. Jennifer explained. The mirrors had become a code. I don't mean actual reflections. It means you're being watched and recorded. Then, she shared something she had never said publicly before. At the end of 2022, at a fundraiser in Los Angeles, an older man approached her, a lawyer she recognized from a prior branding meeting related to Diddy. They were in the Cocheek area. He looked at her and said, "Still walking around like you're untouchable?" Huh. Jennifer asked what he meant. He smiled. You should have signed from the start. That night, she told her team, I'm done. I'm not afraid of these people anymore. The courtroom was completely silent. Then Jennifer leaned forward. They spent years making us believe we needed their approval, that their side had the power, that silence was the price of fame. But I'm still here and I'm not paying that price. The judge called an early recess, and as the jury stood to leave, a woman in the second row wiped tears because Jennifer not only survived the system, she was breaking it down line by line. The next morning, Jennifer returned to the stand dressed all in black, no makeup, hair pulled back. This wasn't for the cameras, no cameras, just the record. The prosecutor didn't waste time. As Lawrence, were there any public gestures you now believe were intended to manipulate or silence you? She didn't even hesitate. Yes. In March 2023, I was nominated for a Creative Empowerment Award from an organization I'd never heard of, a sponsor called the Comms Foundation. She declined, but then got a press draft congratulating her before she even said yes. And the draft included a quote, "Thank you, Diddy, for investing in young voices." Jennifer never said that. Exhibit 18F was introduced, a fake PR release found in her assistant's spam folder. Fake award, fake quote. The whole thing was a setup. Jennifer made a public statement saying she wouldn't attend. Within 48 hours, the story vanished. No one asked why I pulled out. She said it all felt scripted, like she ruined the ending. But something really stayed with her when she got home. 2 weeks later, a box showed up at her building's security desk. No name, no postage. Inside, a pair of rubber gloves, a bottle of glitter, and a Polaroid. The photo was blacked out, nothing visible, but there was a handwritten note. "You look better in red light," the courtroom gasped. The judge banged the gavel. Jennifer confirmed she reported it to LA police. They called it low-level harassment, untraceable, but Jennifer knew what it meant. "That's the panic room," she said. "The light, the gloves, that's the message." Jennifer sat on the stand, silent but not weak. She spoke clearly, not for fame, not for sympathy, but for the truth. She said plainly, "Every time I said no, I felt like I disappeared, like I didn't exist." Then came her final statement of the day. She looked around the courtroom, not at the jury, not at the lawyers. She looked straight at the judge. "There's a myth in Hollywood," she said, "if you work hard, play it safe, and smile enough, you'll be protected." She paused. "That's a lie. I did everything right, and they still came for me." Then she grabbed something on her lap, a folded piece of paper. "Do you want to know why I'm not afraid anymore?" She held up the letter. "Because this existed before movies, before awards, before the cover, the magazine cover. This is who I was before the world knew my name, and now I'm finally myself." The transcript ended that segment with a haunting line. The witness stepped down. The gallery was silent for 37 seconds, because in that moment, it wasn't about what happened behind closed doors. It was about the woman who stepped out and chose to speak, her last day on the stand. Jennifer returned to the courtroom with something new, not a file, not a contract, but a warm envelope. She didn't explain. Not yet. The prosecutor's tone softened. Miss Venture, have you ever talked to Cassie Venturo after her civil lawsuit became public? Jennifer nodded. Yes, just once, in private. She described that moment. Two women, down a back hallway. No press, no cameras. Cassie hugged her and whispered, "Thank you for not asking questions." Back then, I couldn't answer them. Jennifer confirmed she had seen Cassie years earlier in rooms they weren't allowed to enter. No candles in the rooms, no lists, no watchers. Jennifer said she didn't understand what she saw at the time, but Cassie did, and she still smiled. That memory stayed with her. Then the prosecution introduced Exhibit 18, a chain of legal emails. Cassie's lawyers requested verification of a letter dated 2012, long before any lawsuits. That letter, the one Jennifer had in her lab, she explained how it ended up in court. I gave it to my lawyer during a deposition, read it, and asked, "Are you ready to take this further?" I said, "Yes." The letter was sealed. The judge read it privately. 6 months later, it was made public, and now Jennifer was asked to read the last lines aloud. "I am not a product. I am not a secret. If this letter reaches you, it means I chose myself over your silence, and you no longer own me." She folded the paper, put it back in the envelope, then added something not in any transcript. The first time I saw Cassie, she was walking through a door she didn't want to open. Now she's the reason I opened my own door. The room fell completely silent, and then the final bombshell dropped. "Ms. Lawrence, did anyone from your old management team try to interfere with your testimony?" She didn't hesitate. "Yes. 3 weeks ago, a message came through, an old assistant. We all have something to lose. Don't lose it." The court confirmed that. That's Exhibit 18J. Jennifer said she slept with that letter under her pillow that night. They wrote my silence into so many contracts. I had to write my truth somewhere. And now the world has heard it. The prosecutor stepped back. The judge looked up. "One last question. Ms. Lawrence, is there anything else you want to say?" Jennifer didn't hesitate. "Yes, I want to talk about what happened after that." She looked at the jury, beyond the cameras, beyond the applause, beyond the world cheering for you and forgetting to ask if you're okay. "You didn't even blink. I've held those golden statues. I've worn dresses worth more than most people's houses, and nothing can erase what I saw in that house." Her voice cracked because that house haunted her mind. The scent, the cold, the silence, the mirrors. Then she said something that made the court clerk stop typing. "Sometimes, when I get a standing ovation, I wonder if any of those people clapping were actually in that room." She looked out into the gallery. "Not here for pity, not for revenge. I'm here for the girls watching this trial, wondering if anyone believes them." And then she said it. "I do. I believe you. Even if you never say a word." She reached inside the envelope and pulled out the last page. "This is the last line I wrote in my journal. After that night, I walked out, but the door stayed inside me." The judge leaned forward. Jennifer gave her final words. "I was never allowed to testify. I had to disappear quietly and gently. That's what they always expected, but not this time, because I'm still here. And now the door's open." It witnessed the rejection. It was obviously shocking. The session ended at 4:52 p.m. For the first time in 8 days, nobody asked for cameras because the truth was hidden.